Luna sniffed, her eyes wandering around the park. Quinlan's heart pounded. She sensed a cold, dark fear in her niece, something that made her skin prickle with anxiety. "Luna, run," she demanded. But Luna could not move. Her body was frozen as she stared at a woman who walked toward her. That woman had a flower tattoo on the back of her hand, and again her mind showed her what happened through Luna's eyes, as though she had been transported more than 3,000 miles in the space of a heartbeat. Quinlan could feel her niece's spike of adrenaline, though even her body froze when laughter filled her ears. It was the horrible, mad laughter of a man coming from the woman's mouth.
"I've been looking for Quinlan for 20 years, and all I find is this little waif. With the mark of her magic on you, you must know her. Tell me, child, how do you know Quinlan?"
The woman asked in a horrible man's voice, her hand rising as though to beckon the child forward. Quinlan," Luna whimpered while her mind tried to free itself from the power of the voice. "Velman, ledohai asawai, dashi fueka agom de mother furica," Quinlan called in a language she didn't realize she knew. "Velman?" Luna echoed as her knees buckled. A man caught the little girl before she fell to the ground, his hand rising into the air. "Release her, or I'll end you," he growled. Fenton smiled, shaking the head of his minion.
"Interesting. The Veilman is called Unyisho, holding Lay's spear and Monana McLear's cloak. Who are you?"
He raised the spear in his hand and bared his teeth. "I don't care how long it takes. You will pay for all the things you've done." Fenton smirked.
"Ah, you're a zealot. I do love breaking the spirit of those. I will see you soon, I'm sure. There's a cell in my dungeons just for you."
And he released his control of the woman, leaving her blinking at the two confusedly. Luna's mouth fell open. "I know you. I've seen you lots of times," she whispered. He nodded, taking the cloak from around his shoulders and shaking it in front of her. "I'll tell you another time. You're safe now. When you wake up, your granda will take you home," he said, and again winked, making it clear he knew Quinlan could see him. Quinlan shook her head. She both did and didn't recognize the man who'd shown up to rescue Luna. For a reason she couldn't pinpoint, she didn't think about it. She simply pressed her hand to her chest when she heard her dad's voice talking to Luna a few minutes later. The comfort that had moved over Luna came to Quinlan, bringing tears to her eyes. Ty wiped one from her cheek. "She's a good kid," he said with a placatory smile. She realized belatedly that he still stood next to her, his head tipped to the side like a friendly puppy. "If I read a single article about this, ever, I know. I'm working for ESPN, though. We don't do stories about air marshals," he said with a shrug. She sniffed. "Good. Thank you, Ty. Thank you so much for your help. She's everything to me."